Hello. Welcome to Unapologetically Wild with me. So, today I want to talk about the in-between because so many people talk about the beginning and the end, or like they talk about the big thing once it's happened, right? But not everyone talks about those in-between moments, those times when those things that need to die within you are ready to go and you actually have to let them go. And it's been a really big journey, and I want to speak into this because sometimes in business and in life, we think we have a clear direction, right? Or we make a big leap and we're like, I've made this leap. And you've got this like, oh my God, this is so exciting, right? And then it gets closer to the actual time of the leap happening. And all the things come up, right? Like, why am I doing this? You know, all of these pieces, because unless it looks exactly as you had imagined it, it can be very confronting if we haven't controlled it and the outcome doesn't look how we had perceived or thought it would be. And this is really interesting, right? Because then we have to come back to being like, what am I choosing? And do I actually want to do this, right? And this is always before the up level, like the quantum leap. Most people go through this moment of like, do I give up? Do I stop here? And that's why a lot of people aren't very successful, because most people quit when they're about to up level. But sitting in the discomfort of it not looking the way you thought it should look or being the way you thought it should be is really hard to hold that energy, right? And to then also choose to keep going. Now, why I want to talk into this is because a couple of weeks ago, and I think I spoke about this on last week's podcast, where you talk about the wobbles, the doubts, the fears, all these pieces, right, that come up and that hit you. And so I had my event on Saturday and it was fucking epic, right? Like, it was amazing. Like, if I needed any clarity from the universe that I am doing exactly what I fucking want to do, that was it. That moment when I was standing up in front of these beautiful women, telling them my story, giving them mindset shifts, giving them full embodiment, like getting into their body and actually being with themselves and having shifts of things move through their body and an incredible energy healing. Fuck, the light codes, the coding that happened in that day is wild, right? And it was so incredible, like so fucking incredible. They all loved it and they were just like, fuck yes. And I knew I was so comfortable. I felt really good. Were there things I'll improve on next time? Abso-fucking-lutely. Like, was it perfect? Absolutely not. And this is okay and great because it's the first time I've ever done a style like that. I've run women's circles before, but I'd never run one where I had a PowerPoint and I was following sort of a script in a, having some structure. And I think that's important. And though you get to flow as well with your intuition, because there were things I went into in my story that I didn't even think of. There were things that I could relate to people with in the room that, because they were in the room, that was more pertinent, right? And so it was really cool to be with the ebbs and flows of the energy, to allow what needed to come out, to feel and hear the shares of how they experienced the event. And it was so beautiful to receive that, to give such a beautiful free event to these beautiful women where they got to experience and feel themselves and honor them and what they needed, which was so beautiful and wild and so magic when you see women do that. And it's going to change their fucking field. It already has. They've already just been like, holy fuck, I feel amazing. And the best part about this is I get to do this. Like, this is fucking what I'm here on this earth to do, is to share my story, share my gifts with the world and honor women to look after themselves and to be with themselves, slow down and honor what they need, right? So it's a huge clarity piece for me, because for the week before I was like, oh, am I meant to be doing this? Like, generally there were a lot of fears that came up, all the things. And I was like, am I actually meant to be doing this? Like, let's be real here. Am I meant to be doing something else? Huge clarity piece. I crushed it. And I crushed it hard. And it was so fucking good. Do you know what I mean? Like better than I could have even imagined. And so I was like, fuck yeah, I know I'm meant to do this. Like this is meant to be what I do, is be on stage in front of people, fucking thousands, millions. I have dreams about it. Literally. It was the biggest thing I overcome as a child. It was the one thing that I didn't want to do and I couldn't even do in front of my teacher when I was a little child. And then all of a sudden it was the thing that I was doing, you know, going to Toastmasters because a lady who was above me, a year or two above me, she was like, you need to be school captain. And so she was like, believed in me. So people have believed in me before I believed in me, which is what happens a lot of the time, right? And they were like, you need to go and be school captain. This is it. And I was like, fuck, I need to go learn how to speak without almost crying or, you know, feeling really anxious that I can't even speak. So I went and did Toastmasters and I honored that, right? Like, and I have always been a person that will keep pushing in the area that I am deficient in or not as good at. And that has always been my piece, right? To share unapologetically like I do on here. And this is all part of using my voice because for so long I didn't. And so what happened here was I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is, because it all didn't work out exactly as I planned. I didn't have as many women as I had planned. I didn't, you know, I was doing a selling piece at the end and two of the women already coming to the retreat. So it was kind of one of these things where I got to practice it, which was cool. And though it didn't quite come off the way I wanted it to. And I also get to practice that even deeper. And so in the end, I was like, fuck, what do I do? Like, this isn't looking the way I thought it would look. My business doesn't look the way that I thought it would look at this point. And so I've had, you know, messages from my coach and stuff. And she asked me one today and she was like, what in you needs to fully die? What are you holding on to? And I was like, boo. What a question. Fully die. Now, so many pieces, right? I was just on the phone to my girlfriend for hours. And of course I was before I did this podcast, right? And we were talking about how the other week I walked into defense, like I walked back into my old workplace and I saw my boss and he was amazing, right? Like he's such a beautiful, beautiful human. He's left army, he's come back, he's experienced all the things. So he is amazing. He gets all of it. And I said to him, you know, I want to set up that I come and work for a few days a week, you know, just to honor the fact that it supports my business income, all of the pieces, right? But I've been going into it with a mindset that my business can't hold me. So what is the universe showing me? Exactly what I believe. And so I was like, fuck, that's something I get to move. Because if I don't believe it, what's the universe not going to fucking show me? It's all sitting there ready to go, ready to fucking, and I'm the one holding it back. And I was like, oh my gosh, why is that? Why am I going back to the old safety and security of defense? Why am I doing that? Why am I going back to the old safety and security of women who have worked with me in the past, or maybe just that I reached out to, and literally them not showing up for my event because I had people pull out the night before, and I also had, you know, people not show up. And you know how fucking frustrating that is? I am a person, I have realized that I value people who show up. When they say they're going to fucking show up, they show up. Now, sometimes things happen, right? I get that. And though, I'm one of those people, unless someone's dying, unless something's gone terribly wrong, if I decide to come to something, I'm fucking coming. And so it was really interesting when the women that showed up to my event were all from over like 2 hours or far away, right? None of the women that were in Sydney, but the ones that were from Newcastle and from Richmond and further away showed up because they also held that value. They committed, right? And once you commit, it's not a half-ass fucking thing. And I did this for a friend's event, and I'm sure I spoke about it. I committed the night before because I didn't want to put my name down if I wasn't going to show up. So the night before, when I had finally decided that I was going to show up and go to this event, I registered, right? And so I didn't realize, but I was, of course, pulling in all the women that did not serve that and don't hold that value, didn't come. And all the women that weren't in the same frequency of what the event called for didn't come. Because my energy is so fucking potent that I have realized I only call the women in for specific things at specific events. Because of course, when I got to that event, I was like, of course these women are here. Two of them are from, the similar area where I was born, where my family is. And then one of them is looking to move to that similar area. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. Maybe the universe is telling me I need to move back towards home. And I was like, how interesting. Of course, we're all the women in the room together, right? Of course, that's what happened. Because it always makes sense. When there's a smaller group, when there's not many people, there's always a reason for that. And we were all going through a transition where we were ready to open up and receive and be with what moved forward in that transition. We were all moving house or had just moved house. So everyone was stepping and is stepping into a new chapter of themselves, which is wild when you have that all in one room, because it means that we get to serve what is happening. We get to really talk about what is fucking going on. How is everyone navigating it? How do we get to honor how we feel and move through this process? Because we're all walking the same path, right? Maybe in different ways, but it's like, when these rooms come together, a lot of the time you have synchronicities or you've just been through what someone else has been through, right? This is a whole point of coaching from your experience is most of the time, you're walking through or have walked through the thing that they have too. And so it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal to have women in the room who are open and ready for that kind of commitment. And also the universe has put the right people in the right room for a reason. And I love the universe when it shows you that. Shows also how fucking good I am in manifesting the right people to one place. I'm fucking powerful, right? And when I was in the room, we're talking all things light language. We're talking all things spiritual. We're talking all things mystic, right? And witchy, because that's my whole vibe. And of course, I went with a darker color. You can't see it if you're obviously listening to this on Spotify or something like that. But I got darker nails and I was like, I'm feeling juicy in just the richness of all of it. And I went totally different style because to me, at the moment, I'm thinking of changing it up, right? And this is all part of the identity shift. This is all part of the movement. So what else needs to die? The security and safety that I've left in a job that I had, right? There's so many pieces to this. And when I went back to this job, when I walked in, like I said, my boss was amazing. He set it all up. He was like, yep, this sounds good. We'll get it all sorted. I've got you. And then I saw some of the other people that I worked with and I realized how much they don't see things the same way anymore. And I'm no longer relevant, right? Because I'm no longer, their boss or, someone who's a higher rank than them so that they see me in a different light because now I'm part-time. I'm not full-time. And it was so interesting to be treated differently, to almost feel like the last 2.5 years had not happened, to almost feel like they had chosen to go with obviously the people around them and they want to belong with the people in their life, which I get, right? And this is a really big thing in military and life. Instead of being their own person, they've decided to go and meld in with the group and belong to a group that personally I never wanted to belong to and I didn't really see value in and I didn't spend a lot of time with because of that. We had working relationships, but they weren't people I would meet up with on the weekend or people I would go and see. And so I actually started to realize that some of them were sort of, making fun of what I do, being like, oh, your energy is stay here too long, your energy will be exhausted. You better go, And it's so interesting when people actually show you that they've decided that you're no longer part of their crew, that you are, they don't want them to have their dogs around your dog or they don't want to spend any time with you. And they've made a decision because they've aligned with a group that I don't align with. And it's one of those things where you're kind of like, okay, that's cool. Because yes, it hurts, but also afterwards you're like, well, if this is exactly where you're at, that's where you're at. If this is who you want to be friends with, that's so okay, because I just don't choose to be friends with those people and I don't want to align with them. But I'm also not staying in the army. And I've decided I want something bigger and better. And maybe they will too. And maybe there's certain times in our lives, I believe, that we are more susceptible to agree with the people around us. And defense does this really well, actually. And I've done it in defense as well, where I have been with people and I've been like, oh, just because I'm in defense, I'm going to be friends with these people. But if I actually sat with it and I wasn't in defense, I wouldn't fucking be friends with these people. So I've done it, right? And as you get older, you start to realize that these people aren't your fucking people. And you'd rather be alone than with people that actually don't treat you well and are probably going to stab you in the back at any chance they get. So it's very interesting to see that dynamic, right? To see it play out and to realize that you don't actually belong in the space that you thought you belonged in before. And it's not even just that, there's certain people say that sort of thing, but you actually are being shown by the universe you're not meant to go back. But you have to choose it, right? I have to choose to stop listening to the shit of my beliefs about the fact that my business isn't going to hold me, all of these pieces that I'm choosing to believe, because even though they're subconscious, I haven't changed them, I haven't shifted. This shit needs to die in me. The reflection of that is the universe is saying, this is what you would walk back into if you decided to go back. And I was like, fuck. I would have people thinking that they can just tell me what to do even though that's not their position. I would almost be put in a position where it's like, oh, you're here, I'm just going to give you all the shit. And I was like, fuck, this is a really big lesson. It's not even about that. It's about the fact that I don't want to be in this space. And I've realized that these aren't, and this was not a new realization, but a lot of them aren't my people. Some of them I thought they were, and that's okay. Sometimes you lose people on your way to new and bigger, better things. And maybe sometimes you lose people and it's really sad, but you know that that's the next evolution of you. And sometimes they come back around, sometimes they never do. That is just life. I've had people message me years later and say, I'm sorry, or I want to talk to you about this, or, how this went down, or let's talk about it, or I just wanted to send you a message to shut this door. And I've also had people never reach out and never do that. So, we get to be with what that looks like in life over time, and we just get to let people go if they don't serve us of our highest good. And it gets to be okay. And I think if this had happened years ago, this would have really pinged even harder, right? Because I would have been like, fuck, that was a long time we were friends and I thought that it was all good. And, but that doesn't serve my values anymore. My values are that I value people no matter what. And I want to treat people the way I would like to be treated. And I'm not perfect. I probably have fucked that up a million times. Do you know what I mean? But it just was really interesting how quickly things can change and how quickly we can choose to belong or want to be around other people because that's what's around us. And that's so interesting because I have done that so many times where I have chosen to belong instead of choosing myself. What I actually believe in, what I value, what I want. And in this space right now, I am choosing an old paradigm. I am choosing that I have to work hard to make money. I am choosing that I have to be in a full-time job to create income. I am choosing that I get to go back and use defense to make money instead of stepping in fully to my business. And this is really hard to tell you that this needs to be the death of it because you think that you move through this, right? And self-development is a continual journey. And I believe it's something that we just get to keep deepening as we move forward. So I have been through, the fear, the shame, the doubt, all of these pieces many, many times. But this is different because I'm choosing to fully let go. And part of me is still holding on. And I know I've spoken about this before, but why I want to talk about this today is because I'm going to go do a ritual. I have this incredible identity death ritual. It's amazing. And so I'm going to go and do this after this. And I can't wait for you to see the other side of that next week when I do a podcast, because this is the thing, is I get to keep doing the work. But this is the middle time. This is the time when you're like, in the void, in the middle before the breakthrough, the quantum leap, all of these pieces, right? And the clarity of the event was amazing. So, although, all of the parts didn't work there for me in the event that I had thought and planned and thought all the things would happen, it didn't. And guess what? It gave me something even better. It gave me and showed me how much I love what I do and clarity that I'm fucking doing what I actually love in this life. And that's a really big piece. Sometimes these things that you run are there to give you something that you didn't think you needed. And it was exactly what I needed. And so that was amazing because I was like, fuck, this gets to be my life. And I fucking love it. And I'm obsessed with actually making women and helping women feel good, right? Feel their bodies, like actually be in their bodies and ask their bodies what they truly need and be with it and take them through the ceremony of allowing. Some of the women were, yawning because they were so tired and they hadn't actually let themselves slow down because they're so used to being high performing and they're so used to go, 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 go. And if they rest, they see it as a bad thing, right? They see it as it's not making money. It's another thing that I get to let go. It's like I don't have to work hard to make money. I don't have to work hard. I'm allowed to rest and receive, right? So all of these beautiful pieces that I'm helping other women do, and then with the energy healing of clearing and being with what they need and bringing their guides in and activating them in light language and all of these pieces and introducing them to light language, because I had a woman who's never done any energy healing before, but was so open to all of it. And they all felt amazing because they honored themselves. So this is where I get to honor myself even deeper. I get to look at the other side of what is holding me back from this next level, what is holding me back from the quantum leap, the up level, because what that did on the day of the event was opened up my voice. Like it was actually wild. It was almost like everything opened up through my voice. And it was like, holy shit. This is it. This is the activation. This is the clearing. This is the ability to stand up and own your shit that you fucking love. Especially all my witchy shit that I don't really talk about all the time. And I was like, fuck yeah. This gets to be what I do. This is what I do. I am a speaker. Fuck yes. I'm a co-author of a book. Like I'm a fucking incredible human, right? I've created a business where I literally have met so many incredible women. I have had the most incredible clients. I've always had dream clients, like always. And that's a fucking gift. I've always had clients that pay me in full, and I've always had the most beautiful women in my space. And I've always called in women who are ready to work with me fully. And they're like so ready, like they're like, I'm fucking here and I'm open and I'm ready for everything. And this is exactly what I need. And they know that. They fucking know that. And that is a gift. That is a true gift. And I'm so grateful for all the things I have done. Like, I have done modalities. I've done coaching courses. I have honestly become such a beautiful version of myself. I have healed so many wounds. I have actually allowed myself to be confident enough to stand on a stage, to introduce my multi-millionaire coach a couple of times, not just once, to do my own event, literally just me, like fucking killing it in front of everyone. And like, I have done that. If you had asked me to do that like a few years ago, I would have been like, But I would be the CEO of my own business. That I would have women that I get to work with who I fucking love every day. That I'm doing a podcast right now. Are you fucking kidding me? I am doing a podcast. Like, this is wild. And I get to sit in the achievement and the ability of that and love myself for all of it. And I've had so many incredible coaches. I've had so many incredible moments in business, photo shoots, and I said meeting beautiful women, so many pieces that have built me to this moment. And now I get to let go. I get to burn it. Burn, what do I need to die fully, right? Like I get to kill it off. And so burning is part of the ritual, that's why. or burying, depending on, obviously, if you don't have a fire safe container, you can bury the piece of paper that you write on. Anywho, that's going a bit off track. So this piece that I get to sit with, like what needs to die fully? I've already mentioned a couple of pieces, but we get to look at the identity of being anchored in a job where you're literally told what to do. There's a hierarchy. There's all of these pieces, right? But being my own CEO, I am the boss. I can change what I need to change, but I come from a place of not scarcity, but fulfillment, like being fully not in scarcity, but being in like coming from a full cup, right? Of overflow, of being in a space where it's aligned. And there's moments where that has fucking flowed, right? And there's moments when I've also come from scarcity. I'll be completely honest, because let's be real. When you go on this journey, when you choose yourself, there is many moments that you have to keep choosing yourself. When you sit in the shit of your emotions, when you allow your emotions and actually honor them and what are they telling you, when you actually sit in what's in your body, how do I honor that? What is it telling me? Come from a place of curiosity and allow yourself to move through whatever you need to move through. It's really important, right? It gets to be beautiful and it gets to be all the things, right? A lot. It can be scary sometimes. It can really get us. Like, what are we doing? And I think what the beautiful part about this is asking myself this question means that I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to surrender even deeper. And I think when it comes to a big identity that you've had for 13 years, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to let things die that have been old programming, old beliefs, old patterns that you've had for 13 years, longer even, because some of them will come out of my childhood. And I came from literally living at home to joining the army at 19 to then being in a system. I've gone from a school system to a military system. I've always been in a system. And I actually, for the first time, get to choose where I want to live in the world. And that's beautiful. And the universe will guide me to where that is as well. And I think that's amazing, right? We get to be fully guided and trust. And what this will do is put me in trust even deeper in myself, in the universe, my spirit guides, God, all of the things, whatever you refer to, and in who I am and what I'm here to create. And I think that's so beautiful and something that not everyone gets in their life. It doesn't mean that I haven't worked super hard for what I wanted, right? And I'm going to obviously get to work and put in for the next part. But I also get to receive while I rest. And I get to honor the parts of me that gets to receive even deeper while I'm resting and while I'm surrendering and while I'm letting go. So if you're going through something right now where you are leaving an old identity, where you are moving through a space that feels a little bit uncertain, because let's be honest, we always have spaces where we're uncertain. And you'll be hearing this at the exact right moment that you need it, because I trust that this will get to the people that need it at the exact moment they need it. Allow yourself to be curious. Allow yourself to be with what fully needs to die in this moment for you to step into the person you're becoming, for your next level, for your next part of growth. What is it? What are the patterns, the beliefs, the systems, all of the things that you need to move on from to allow the abundance that's sitting right here, right? It's right next to you. It's probably in your field, like around you, right? Right now, that's where my abundance is sitting. For it to crash into my universe, into the external world, for me to see it, because it's all chilling here, I have to let things die. Because that old programming, that old way of being cannot hold the abundance that's coming. And also wouldn't be grateful for it, and also wouldn't appreciate it. right? Because I'd be still coming from that place. Because let's be honest, it doesn't actually matter how much money you make. It doesn't actually matter what you have materialistically. Yes, it's nice to have nice things. And don't get me wrong, we all want nice things. And let's also not make that shameful about that as well, right? We're not ashamed to want nice things, right? But it doesn't really matter, because if you feel like shit still, or your inside world can't hold it, or you're not at peace, or you don't love yourself, or you don't believe in yourself, or you don't think you're worthy, and you get it, you won't appreciate it and love it, because you're actually going to be in the same spot. That's why some people, and this is so bad, but some people have so much money, but then they choose to take their life because they're like, they're not fulfilled. It didn't help them because they were feeling already not great in themselves. If they're feeling great in themselves and they have fuckloads of money, you are a fucking millionaire in all ways of life, right? And that's beautiful. That's the dream, right? But we also get to be at peace and love ourselves, and not everyone is wanting to be a millionaire as well. Sometimes it's literally about seeing our worth, believing in ourselves, loving ourselves deeper, coming to peace and tranquility and all these beautiful feelings that we get to have by letting the old parts of us die that are no longer serving that, but they were at one point. At one point, they were our safety to get us through while we were surviving. But we're no longer here just for survival. We're not here to survive. We're here to live. So that means letting go of that old part. Because if you don't let go of it, you will still live in survival, no matter how much you receive. But if you let that go, you live in a beautiful state every day, and then you receive abundance on top of that. That is beautiful. And you receive money and maybe clients, aligned clients, because they're going to be going through what you're going through. You get to hold them in that. This is really what we want: peace and profit. Of course, that is also part of the book I co-authored. That's what part of the Rich Lady Revolution, peace and profit, right? Because that's what we want. So let's work on honoring ourselves and looking after ourselves and letting go of what's not serving us anymore. Kill that identity, that part of you that's not going to help you go into that next phase, and appreciate and love and be with all the beautiful things that are coming for you in all areas of life, right? Relationships, baby. I mean, you're having a baby. Maybe you want to have a baby. Maybe you want to birth something in business. Maybe you want to have a business. Maybe you want a new job. Maybe you want a promotion. All of these things, there are parts of you that you have to let go of so you can step into this new part. Allow yourself to be with what does that look like. I love you. This has been beautiful. And I cannot wait to hear. I'd love for you to share in the comments, DM me all of the pieces of any pieces that come through for you. What are you needing to let go of to step in that next version of who you are? Who are you becoming? I would love to know. I love you. Know that you're not alone and that we all get to walk this path together. And if you received anything beautiful that was like a aha moment for you on this podcast, I would also love for you to share that with me. I love you. I hope you have the most incredible week, and you are unapologetically wild and unapologetically you. I love you.